Arce looks to put another notch in his saddle. Dan Rayfield stops by. He's got the inside scoop on news and rumors from the world of boxing. And we preview another good-looking card set to go in Montreal. That's all ahead on In This Corner with Russ Anber. Hi, everybody, and welcome to In This Corner. I'm Darren Detition, along with the coach, Russ Anber. We are glad that you tuned in. We're going to have to start calling you the president,
You know, I should have instituted this with you a long time ago. You know, I like the sound of that.
Right. Re-elected again for the fourth term as the president of boxing in Quebec. Congratulations.
Yeah, thanks very much, Dutchie. You know, it was something I'm really excited about. This will be our fourth term. I've been president there for 6 years. And, you know, the people I work with, Ken Pichet, the whole board of directors, I mean, we have a really great program going. And it shows at the pro level and as well in the amateur level. And boxing is healthy in the province. And I'm happy to be part of it, brother.
Yeah, we'll see if you get impeached or not. If you actually survive the length of your term. No scandals. Keep it clean.
Okay.
You know, some guys like to box and some guys like to brawl. Jorge Arce is a brawler, a super flyweight out of Mexico who you just can't miss. He always enters the ring wearing his traditional cowboy hat and a gigantic smile. And when the bell rings, he really is all offense. A little suspect defensively. All Arce wants to do is knock people out, and that's exactly what he had predicted for Masibuele Makpula.
The Mexican cowboy, he wanted to come in on a horse, but arena officials wouldn't allow it. So he fires up a Harley here.
His prediction was he was going to move around for a couple rounds and then end it in the fourth. He didn't put it to rhyme as Muhammad Ali would have, but he didn't come far away either.
There you see Arce getting busy. Committing to that hook to the body. Two good hooks that catch Makpula right in the midsection. And Makpula now digs deep as he tries to find the leverage of right hook. It connects on a straight right. That got Jorge Arce's attention. Arce now firing. Makpula temporarily stunned.
Arce has him hurt. Makpula's fought back valiantly till this point, but he appears hurt.
Guys, we're in for a fight.
Oh, we're in the middle of an excellent one.
Big right hand from Arce, and he lands flush with another left hook. Makpula off balance. Big round for the Mexican cowboy here in the third.
This was his prediction round, fourth round knockout, and it looks like he's in position to make that come true.
The momentum is all with Jorge Arce. Oh, he just got hurt there with the left hook. That's right, he caught him with that scraping left foot. Oh, and Makpula's in trouble. And Arce trying to finish the deal early in the fourth round, and Makpula goes down. I don't think he's going to make it. It is over. Dick Draculence waves it off 1 minute into the fourth round. Arce said he's going to do it in the fourth round. He did it in the fourth round in splendid style.
So Arce predicts a fourth round.
Okay, hang on. Before you get into anything about predicting this, let me show you something. This has got to stop. This has to, these shorts that these guys are wearing. You see Arce, a warrior in boxing trunks, because that's what you're supposed to wear, is boxing trunks. You're not supposed to wear strips of material hanging off of you. Baseball players don't change their uniforms. Hockey players don't change their uniform. Basketball players got to wear a vest and shorts. Why don't boxers have to wear shorts? And we saw it last week with Guzman wearing those two flaps that he was wearing. I'm fed up with this stuff. Everyone is trying to go so much over the edge of being crazy of what shorts they're wearing. You see what a warrior wears? Now carry on.
I don't ever say what, you know, what you're wearing.
Shirt and a tie.
Okay. Yeah, some are nicer than others. But okay, your point is well taken. But let's talk a little bit about the fight itself, though. Arce had said that I'm going to knock him out in the fourth round, and he did just that. He's a very impressive, very engaging fighter.
He is, you know, and he's charisma personified. I mean, this guy comes into the ring. He just loves the crowd. He feeds off of the crowd. And, boy, the way he worked. First round was a slow start. Like, Makpula stayed in behind the jab. But then right after starting in the second round, it was just Arce who was just just unloading. He was aggressive. He knew he could get to him, and he did, and he never let up. He wanted that fourth-round prediction. He almost looked like he was going to get it in the third, but he kind of backed off and waited. He said, I got to get him in the fourth, and he got him in the fourth. But, boy, this guy's just excitement.
Right. They
Name me another sport where little guys can be treated like heroes.
No, and you know what? They came in at $115 is what they fought at. They both weighed about $125 when the bout went off, and now people are saying Arce and maybe Victor Chinian, which is a fight you and I would both like to see. That would be fantastic. There are a lot of great fights coming up over the next little while, which takes us to our poll question. Which one of these bouts interests you the most? Would it be Nikolai Valuev against Monty Barrett, Vladdy Klitschko, Calvin Brock, Pretty Boy Floyd, Carlos Baldomir, Manny Pacquiao and Eric Morales again, Jermaine Taylor, or Kasim Uma? Which bout piques your curiosity the most? Let us know at tsn.ca/boxing and register your response. All right, we have to take a short break. When we come back, he is the man with the inside info. ESPN's Dan Rayfield will join us to talk about the boxing rumor mill. Stay tuned.
Designed to perform.
Welcome back to the show. He is a frequent contributor here to this program and a very welcome guest. Dan Rayfield from ESPN.com rejoins us. And Dan, it's always a pleasure to talk to you. There's so many great fights coming up. There's another one on the agenda, too. We've got Mikhail Kessler and Marcus Beyer. How do you see this fight going down?
That's a great fight. You know, you have two guys with championships. You have Joe Calzaghe, who's the unified champion, so he's sort of the recognized champion of the division. But these are the next best two guys. They're going to fight in Denmark, and the winner, of course, will be mandated by the public, I would imagine, to face Calzaghe. The great thing for the fans in the United States is that HBO is going to televise the Calzaghe fight, but they're going to roll in some highlights of the Kessler fight against Beyer, so people here who've never seen either guy will get an opportunity to see them and make the comparison of those two champions on the same telecast in which they'll see Joe Calzaghe. I think Mikhail Kessler, being at home from Denmark and being, you know, a bigger puncher, a younger man, probably has the definite edge in that fight, and I just see him taking care of Beyer, who's been a little shaky in some of his defenses. But I give Beyer a lot of credit for being willing to finally leave Germany and go take a dangerous fight on the road.
Dan, I mean, I've been saying for a long while how great Kessler has been. I think he's the best super middleweight in the world right now. What's taken so long for the U.S. networks to cotton on to this guy?
Well, I don't know if it's been so long. It's been a division that really hasn't had a lot of star power. Once Calzaghe unified the titles against Jeff Lacey, there was an increased interest there with some other young guys coming up, like Canada's Lucien Bute and Alan Green in the United States, and, you know, Chad Dawson, who now has moved up to light heavyweight. But still, there's been some action and some young prospects coming up in those divisions, and so they're looking to spotlight those guys. And, you know, Kessler's only had his title for a little bit, so I don't think there's been it's actually, in my mind, it's happening quicker than I sort of imagined. But he's going to get an opportunity. He's an exciting fighter. If he beats Beyer, we're going to definitely see him on television on this side of the ocean.
Most recently, Baby Bull Juan Diaz, it was reported that he was going to end up signing with Golden Boy Promotions. He ends up going with Don King. Golden Boy has just signed Manny Pacquiao. He gets a lengthy deal, too, with them. How much of a player has Golden Boy Promotions become when it comes to signing these fighters? Are they the biggest now?
Oh, I think you're right about that. They are the biggest. Golden Boy Promotions is only 4 years old, just 4 years old, and they've been competing at the top level with promoters like Top Rank and Don King and Main Events. But at the moment, they have probably, I don't think you can really argue with it, they have the best stable of fighters in the sport. Obviously, number one is Oscar De La Hoya. He owns the company. He also is an active fighter, and you know, the great money maker that he is, he clearly brings a lot of you know, expectations and publicity to the company. But once you get past him, you have guys like Shane Mosley and Marco Antonio Barrera, who's coming off a great win last week against Rocky Juarez. Should Bernard Hopkins decide to fight again and come out of retirement, he's part of Golden Boy Promotions. And in terms of younger fighters, they have now Manny Pacquiao, they have Joan Guzman, they have Jorge Barrios, they have Juan Manuel Marquez, a lot of young guys, Demetrius Hopkins. I mean, they have a really good stable of young fighters. Daniel Ponce de Leon, Israel Vasquez they're involved with. I mean, the list goes on and on. They are by far and away the number one promoter in terms of just actual talent. I forgot about Kasim Uma. I mean, they have just a wonderful stable of fighters right now, and it's going to be up to Golden Boy to map out the strategy, to put together the best fights, which they can do now, particularly when you have the three fighters like Pacquiao, Marquez, and Barrera under contract. You can make and mix and match those guys together in rematches or make any number of fights that the fans would love to see that in turn will generate a lot of money for Golden Boy.
Dan, I don't mean to catch you off guard here, and I just want to check something in the rumor mill. Any news on Arturo Gatti and a supposed fight against Dimitri Salita?
Well, that is one of those sort of fights where, you know, it's rumored to the degree that nothing is set. But Lou DiBella, who is the promoter for Dimitri Salita, called me. I actually wrote that a couple days ago and said that Main Events has approached him about possibly making that match. Arturo Gatti, who's coming off a loss to Carlos Baldomir this past summer, he has one fight remaining on his HBO contract, and even if Gatti retires, I'm sure he's going to take that fight and make a 7-figure payday. And obviously they're going to look for an opponent that Arturo can come back against, that fans would probably buy tickets for, that people would tune in to see. Salida's, been made for some exciting fights. He is undefeated. And, that's the sort of fight that they're looking around to see what can we put Arturo in. It's not a huge risk fight, but probably will still be an entertaining fight. And Salida, being an East Coast fighter, having his own sort of fans that will come out to the fight also, makes for somewhat of an interesting fight. I think it's a little too early to say that it's going to happen, but I don't think there's no doubt that they're at least having conversations about it.
Okay, Dan, we got about 20 seconds left. Last time we saw Gatti in the ring, it was against Carlos Baldomir. He steps up against pretty boy Floyd Mayweather. If we can, in a short period of time, give us your prediction on that fight.
Well, Baldomir is the bigger guy. Mayweather is obviously just a tremendous talent. But I believe that in boxing, speed kills. And there's a reason why Carlos Baldomir has the number of losses that he does. Floyd Mayweather has been second to none in his career. And I think even though he's smaller, maybe not the puncher that Baldomir is at that weight division, that Mayweather should carry the day and be able to outbox him and win a decision.
Hey, Dan, it was nice catching up with you. I know that you've got a busy schedule, as we do, over the next little while. Thanks very much for this.
Thank you very much. I look forward to being back with you guys.
Take care, Dan.
All right, we have to take another break. When we return, it's shaping up to be a good card in Montreal. We look ahead to September the 30th. You're watching In This Corner with Russ Anber.
Designed to perform.
Here's some news for you, folks. Middleweight Winky Wright will fight Ike Quartey on December 2nd in Tampa, Florida. Contracts are not yet signed, but the HBO televised fight is a go, according to Wright and his advisor, Jim Wilkes. Winky comes into the bout off a draw with Jermaine Taylor, and Quartey comes in off of that controversial loss to Vernon Forrest, so justice is served.
As we had mentioned with Dan Rayfield, Golden Boy Promotions has signed Filipino superstar Manny Pacquiao. He gets a lucrative 7-fight contract as they outbid top-ranked. Golden Boy has become the biggest player when it comes to promotions. Pacquiao will face Eric Morales for the 3rd time on November the 18th. We're all looking forward to that.
And I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but unbeaten super middleweight Lucien Bute will unfortunately not be able to box on the Mikael Kessler-Marcus Beyer unification card in Denmark due to swelling in his right hand suffered in his recent win over James Obed-Tony in Montreal. Because of the lack of healing time between now and the 14th of October, Interbox has decided to pull him off and save him for December 1st.
There's some other notes to pass your way. Longtime WBO cruiserweight champ Johnny Nelson has retired. Miguel Cotto has found his next opponent. He'll meet Carlos Quintana for the vacant WBA title in early December. Larry Sharp knocked off Martin Desjardins in Winnipeg, and Ian McKillop narrowly escaped with a win. He had a very close battle with the tough Jan Lecavalier. He extended him a little more than people had thought.
Yep, and in Germany this weekend, there was a Fight of the Year candidate. Arthur Abraham defended his IBF middleweight title against Edison Miranda. In the process, Abraham fought most of the bout with a severely broken jaw, bleeding profusely, and being forced to keep his mouth open. After winning a unanimous decision, Abraham had to be rushed to hospital for surgery that will keep him out of action for up to 4 months.
I'm telling you, from all accounts, too, that was an out-and-out war. That's the problem. Sometimes they fight in Germany and you don't get highlights or footage of that particular bout. One of the things that we had touched upon was the injury to Lucien Bute. He will not be fighting on the Kessler undercard against Beyer, which is unfortunate. How severe is the injury?
Well, put it this way. I mean, it's severe enough that he can't use it to get ready for the 14th. That's the problem. It probably would be healed and ready to go by the 14th, but basically, what do? Stay in the gym and train one-handed for the next couple of weeks? That was kind of the problem. So they decided that they have a date for December at the Bell Center in Montreal. He's their headliner. He's moving up, 18-0, great win he just comes off of against Obed-Tony. So they want to keep him for the December show, and I guess you really can't blame them for that.
No, not at all. Why would you take a chance, especially with so much on the horizon for him? But it wasn't an injury that's going to affect his career long-term. Was this just a little freak injury to the right hand?
Yeah, he hurt the right hand on a hook to the head in the 3rd round, and I mean, look, the way this guy punches, it's incredible. He hasn't hurt his hands more in his career. This is the first time he suffered somewhat of an injury that's put him out of the gym and had to postpone a fight. So I think he's been pretty lucky so far. So we'll see after it heals. But that's why I think they want to take care of it.
Yeah, what do you think of Ike Quartey and Winky Wright quickly?
I'm glad you asked me. Everything is quickly with you. You asked me quickly. Listen, I think this is great because Quartey was robbed in that decision against Vernon Forrest, and now justice is being served by giving him an opportunity to fight Winky Wright, and Winky Wright as well, you know, got that controversial draw against Taylor. So I think this is a great opportunity of two guys who are coming off what they feel are bad decisions. They're going to get it on with each other. High-profile fight. I love it. It's about time they did that.
Yeah, we're looking forward to that bout, too. Now, if you had to gamble on one Canadian fighter, Jean Pascal would be a pretty good bet. The former Canadian amateur star was recently considered for a fight with Alan Green. But with only 13 pro fights, the risk really wasn't worth the reward. Instead, Pascal will plug along, headlining a card this weekend at the Montreal Casino as he climbs into the ring with Lucien Arias.
Canadian super middleweight champion Jean Pascal returns to the ring Saturday, hoping to build on his perfect 13-0 record in what should be an interesting year for the Montreal fighter. Pascal takes on 11-1 Lucien Green Arias in the former Olympian's first 12-rounder.
Yeah, it's the first time I'm going to make 12 rounds, and I don't think it's going to be my last time. And right now, I'm in a pretty good shape, and I can't wait for the fight.
But he comes in off a personal disappointment, a 10-round decision victory over Darnell Bute. While dominating on the scorecards and winning virtually every round, many were disappointed, including Pascal himself, who thought he could have done better with the journeyman fighter. Looking to get back on the knockout trail with Arias, Pascal has made plans to reach a certain goal in the upcoming 12 months.
I think is to get a North American belt, and after that to finish 2007 in the top 5 in the world. It will be great for me.
In what promises to be an exciting co-feature, fellow Quebecers Sébastien Demers and Stéphane Desormier square off against each other for Demers' Canadian junior middleweight belt. The talented pair have a lone loss between them, with Demers a perfect 17-0, while Desormier is an equally impressive 15-1. Demers is chasing fellow stablemate Joachim Alcine in what he hopes to be a world title shot next summer if all goes according to plan. But first, he must get by the man who twice had his number in the amateurs. When asked about the pair of losses, Demers is quick to point out that it was he who scored knockdowns in both those fights. Also on the undercard and making his pro debut is Adonis Stevenson. This iron-fisted former amateur star was the only Canadian boxer to medal at the recent Commonwealth Games.
I turned pro now, but I want to title, so I want to boxing and prove myself, and I know I can take the title, so I'm gonna work hard for that.
Expect to hear more about this former amateur national champion in the months and years ahead.
All right, let's start with Jean Pascal and his opponent. Will this be an easy fight? Will he extended to go to the distance again?
I don't know if he'll be extended to go the distance. Jean doesn't like to go the distance. He's exciting and he wants to take guys out. And like he said, in his last fight with Darnell Boone, you know, he didn't do what he wanted to do, and that was knock Boone out. He likes to go out there and please the crowd, and that's, I think, exactly what he's going to do in this fight. And I think that the most important thing is his development. And now he's already into now starting, you know, his second year as a pro, full years. Only has 13 pro fights. Already he's moving up into wanting to fight 12-rounders. So I think this is a good indication that he wants to follow through on his promise to be in the top 5 by the end of the year.
I was going to ask you, is that a realistic goal for him?
You know, that's all going to, it could be realistic, but what it's going to mean in order to achieve that is it's going to have to be a major up in opposition. So if he seems ready to take on that up in opposition, it will be realistic, but it's not going to be realistic to say you want to be in the top 5, but you're going to still fight ordinary guys. So as long as he fights good guys, he'll move up there.
Right. To be somebody, you've got to fight somebody. Which,
to be a star, you've got to work with a star. Right.
Yeah, I'm so grateful for this opportunity. I've been thankful for that. But no, realistically, though, when you assess his boxing skills, we know how good of an amateur he was. You've seen the progression as a professional. Does he have the skill set to be in with the big boys?
Yeah, I think he does. And you know, that fight with Darnell Boone really proved something to it. After the fight, we went and had a meeting of Mark Ramsey, Mike Moffa, and Jean Pascal to discuss how he felt about that fight and why things came off. He was putting his focus elsewhere. So I think he learned from that fight, and I think that's really important. So we're going to see in this fight if it really sunk in, because he's been paying much more attention now to his development as a pro, more so than his development as a, you know, as a star, as a celebrity.
Right. You know what? There's nothing wrong with little attitude adjustment every once in a
That's
while.
right. Plus, he had to pay for breakfast, and he doesn't want to do that again.
All right. We're going to take a short break. When we come back, we've got Russ's final flurry. We're going to throw a bunch of topics at him, and he'll respond. You're watching In This Corner. To watch somebody get knocked out. It's ESPN Knockouts. That is Wednesday, September the 27th on ESPN Classic. It is time now for Russ's final flurry. We throw the topics. Ding,
Bring
ding.
them on, brother.
This is a real good one. Interesting. This comes from Bruce Quarrell, and he wants to know, what does skinning the gloves mean? And we heard this during the Barrera-Juarez fight. Explain, please.
Okay. First of all, there's going to be a two-part question. I'll answer the first part. Skinning the glove means what you do is, when you're putting the glove on the fighter, is you grab the lace back here, and when you're pulling it down, you pull it all the way back there, so you bunch up all the leather, which what happens is it pulls that leather really tight and makes the padding really hard. That's not as really always works now with foam padded gloves, but back in the day with horsehair gloves, that's what they used to do. It used to really pack it down good. However, having said that, again, you're going to interrupt me. Having said that, I'm not sure that in that fight that's what happened, because I'll tell you why. They wore Everlast gloves. Everlast makes a long glove. When you put your hand in the glove, the wrist area of the glove, especially on a smaller guy like Barrera, would probably come about here. So that's why they need to they need to lace the glove this high so they get it around his wrist. So that, and then they put the tape on it, makes it look like it was skin, but I don't think it's a problem.
Yeah, but the tape was awfully high when it came up Barrera's hand, and they thought it might affect Juarez during the course of the fight. Anyways, Dave Lee wants to know, it doesn't agree with your assessment that Lucien Bute has fought a top-flight competition.
Okay, listen, you heard us speak to Dan Rayfield. What did Dan Rayfield tell you? What did he tell you? Did he not tell you that this guy's been fighting?
No, he said that, he goes, you know what, you're top-notch, and you've been carrying Russ. And the competition that Bute, no, honestly, this is what he did say off-camera. We were talking about Bute off-camera. And he said,
answer this. I'm giving you a chance now to be a star. Go ahead.
The quality of opponent that Bute has fought has been very impressive.
Very impressive. Now, this is a guy who hasn't seen him, but you've seen him maybe box once, watched him a little bit on tape, hasn't seen him, but is getting these results. And again, I'll list them off to you. Guys like Christian Cruz, Cabaret Salim, the Egyptian magician, never been stopped before, fought Calzaghe for a world title fight. Dropped Calzaghe.
Obed Tony.
Obed Tony, 20-1. I mean, okay, Obed Tony hasn't fought very impressive fight in which he should have got the decision. It was called a draw. He's been fighting. Nobody in the I'll put it this way. Nobody in the super middleweight division has fought better opposition. No contender in the super middleweight division has fought better opposition than Lucien Bute.
Okay, Nick Barrett from Minto, New Brunswick wants to know, dream fight at 135. You got Pernell Sweet Pea Whitaker climbing into the ring with pretty boy Floyd Mayweather. Who wins?
Very good. Okay. The only way I can answer you this is based on two facts. Not my opinion, facts. Pernell Whitaker, after running a record of 15-0, lost to Jose Luis Ramirez. I'll tell you this. Floyd Mayweather would never lose to Jose Luis Ramirez. Second thing, in his career, Pernell Whitaker had 17 knockouts in 40 wins. Mayweather has 24 KOs already in 36 wins. I'm going with Mayweather.
Yeah, in a walk, and we ran out of time.
Not a walk. Who said walk? You said walk. Who said walk?
I said walk. He wins it in a walk. And one of my cousins from Saskatchewan wanted to know, how come we didn't have a cake for our anniversary show last weekend, and how come there wasn't a ring girl jumping out of the cake?
He's right.
No, we don't operate that way. We'll see you next week, folks.
Russ Anber's Clothing by Pellegrino Castronovo.